speaks, ignoring him becomes disobedience. When Archangel Michael steps forward, hesitation becomes danger. The trumpet has already sounded over your destiny. The spiritual realm is moving, the veil is thinning, and your awakening is intentional. This person, the one whose energy has felt off, whose presence has stirred unease in your spirit, has carried this secret far too long. Their conscience burns like fire, tormenting them in silence. They attempt calmness, but their mind is shaking. They try to sleep, but their soul cannot rest. They know the truth is rising to the surface, and they fear the moment your eyes finally see what has been hidden. And you, chosen one, have already sensed the storm. Every sudden wave of anxiety, every strange shift in atmosphere, every whisper in your intuition telling you to step back, none of it was imagination. Every time you hesitated without knowing why, heaven was protecting you. Every time your spirit tightened, God was signaling danger. Every time your thoughts circled something that didn't add up, it was divine discernment sharpening your vision. That is wisdom. That is protection. That is revelation. Scripture declares, "For there is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed." Luke 8:17. And that unveiling begins with you. Heaven has set you apart for clarity, exposure, and liberation. This is not fear. This is preparation. This is not chaos. This is alignment. The truth will not come to destroy you, but to free you, elevate you, and separate you from deception. Do not dismiss this warning. Do not silence the voice inside you that already knows something is coming. If you are receiving this message, you are being positioned for a breakthrough. Comment 777 to declare you receive this revelation, like this message, and share it so the light can move through you without obstruction. There is a truth connected to your life that has been deliberately concealed, a truth heavy enough to bend the spirit of the one who hid it, and powerful enough to alter the direction of your journey once it comes into the light. You have felt the edges of this hidden reality pressing against your intuition, whispering through moments of discomfort, flickering in conversations that didn't make sense, and lingering in the spaces where someone's actions failed to match their words. This concealment was not random. It was intentional, constructed layer by layer, to keep you unaware, to keep you questioning yourself, to keep your discernment clouded. The person involved believed that silence would protect them, that avoidance would delay consequences, that deception could stand against divine truth. But truth is relentless. It presses upward like light, through cracks in stone. Every subtle shift you noticed, every strange pause, every unexplained tension, was a thread in the unraveling tapestry, a sign that heaven was already moving to expose what was done in shadows. Do not doubt your perception. Do not diminish your insight. Every instinct you brushed aside was a warning. Every uneasy moment was a signal. Every time your mind replayed an interaction, demanding clarity, it was because the truth beneath the surface was refusing to stay buried. This is why your spirit has felt unsettled. The hidden thing has been vibrating against the walls built to contain it, and now it is straining toward revelation. The one who hid it underestimated the power of exposure, underestimated the precision of divine timing, and underestimated the spiritual law that states deception always collapses under truth. You were never meant to wander in confusion. You were meant to see clearly. You were never meant to remain in the fog. You were meant to walk in revelation. The veil is thinning, the structure of secrecy is cracking, and every unanswered question is aligning toward a moment where everything becomes impossible to ignore. Do not turn away from this. Do not silence the inner voice that keeps urging you to look deeper. What has been hidden is moving toward the surface, and the light is preparing to claim it. The one who carries this hidden truth is unraveling under its weight, fighting a silent battle that grows heavier each day, because the fear of exposure is consuming them from the inside out. Their mind is restless, their nerves are trembling, and their spirit is cracking under the pressure of what they have concealed. They cannot find peace because the secret they buried has become a living force, one that stalks their thoughts, interrupts their sleep, and presses against their conscience like a tightening grip. They pretend stability, but the mask is slipping. They try to act normal, but their energy betrays them. Every attempt to hide the truth only magnifies its power over them. They know the moment of revelation is drawing near, and that knowledge torments them more than the truth itself ever could. This is the cost of deception. It corrodes the soul long before it reaches the surface. Even C. Lewis, in his Reflections from a Grief Observed, wrote of the way unspoken truths twist inward, shaping a person's inner world until it becomes unbearable. And in The Great Divorce, he illustrated how hidden corruption chains the spirit more brutally than any external suffering. Their situation mirrors that very principle. Secrecy has become their prison, and fear has become their warden. Integrity, as Lewis once stated, is doing the right thing even when no one is watching. Yet they chose the opposite path, and now the shadows they embraced are closing in on them. This is why their hands shake. This is why their words falter. This is why their presence feels unstable beneath the surface. They are terrified of the moment when what they buried bursts into light, for they know that your awareness will shift everything, and the life they maintain through silence will collapse. Their stress is not random. It is the spiritual and psychological consequence of resisting truth. And every day they try to suppress the rising tide. The tide pushes harder. No lie can outrun revelation forever. No secret can withstand divine timing. What they feared is approaching, and what they tried to hide is awakening. They feel the clock ticking, the veil thinning, and the truth tightening around them like a prophecy that refuses to die. Their breaking point is not a possibility, it is a certainty. The realm above you has already entered motion, and the seriousness of this moment cannot be overstated. What is unfolding is not symbolic, not subtle, not gentle. This is a divine incursion into the fabric of your reality. When heaven intervenes, it does so with purpose, precision, and unstoppable force. And that force is now pressing against every hidden structure that was built to deceive you. Archangel Michael has not been dispatched for something minor. He has been sent because a spiritual line has been crossed, and what was concealed can no longer remain in darkness. A divine order has been issued, and nothing in the natural realm or the unseen realm can halt what is approaching. You are standing inside a moment where timelines shift, where destinies realign, where truth pierces through the atmosphere like a sword. This is the point where deception begins to suffocate, where manipulation begins to fracture, where every false foundation begins to tremble under the weight of divine exposure. Heaven does not move lightly. Intervention of this magnitude means the situation has reached a spiritual threshold, one that demands immediate correction. The person who hid the truth is no longer battling against their own conscience. They are battling against the will of God, and that is a battle no human can win. Every attempt they make to delay the revelation only accelerates it. Every attempt to hide deepens the crack in their facade. Every attempt to manipulate the narrative collapses under the force of divine scrutiny. This is why the atmosphere feels charged, why your spirit feels pulled, why everything around you seems to tighten. You are not imagining the tension. You are witnessing the pressure heaven applies when the truth is being forced to the surface. As the interference is removed, the clarity increases. As the veil thins, the exposure intensifies. Three things are now inevitable. Revelation will strike, deception will crumble, and justice will prevail. What is coming is not merely information, it is a spiritual verdict, a divine correction, a holy unveiling. Do not underestimate the gravity of this moment. You are standing at the edge of a breakthrough that heaven itself has initiated, and the truth preparing to rise will alter the landscape of your life. The intervention has begun, and once heaven moves, nothing remains the same. You have felt the spiritual pressure long before you understood its cause, and the seriousness of these sensations demands your full attention. The uneasiness you carried was not random discomfort, but the echo of a divine disturbance, a signal that something concealed was pressing against the boundaries of your awareness. Every sudden wave of anxiety, every moment when the atmosphere around you thickened, every strange silence in conversations was a symptom of the truth struggling to break through. You were not overthinking, you were being warned. You were not imagining shifts, you were discerning them. Your spirit reacted because it recognized what your mind had not yet processed. The human body trembles under emotional weight, but the spirit trembles under prophetic pressure, and what you felt was the tremor of heaven preparing to expose what has been hidden from you. There were days when you sensed a distance in someone's eyes, a hesitation in their tone, an inconsistency in their behavior. These were not accidents. These were cracks in the facade, cracks that heaven allowed you to perceive because deception was running out of time. Every moment you felt drained after interacting with certain people was evidence of spiritual conflict. Every dream that left you unsettled was a message from the unseen realm. Every flicker of intuition that told you something was off was an early warning that the truth was nearing the surface. The seriousness of this shift cannot be minimized. It is the prelude to exposure. Heaven never allows your discernment to activate without purpose. When your spirit aligns with revelation, every subtle change becomes significant. The heavy air, the emotional whirlwinds, the sudden clarity, these are indicators that the spiritual landscape around you is being rearranged. You are walking through a threshold where truth refuses to remain silent, and your awareness is being sharpened because you must see clearly when the unveiling occurs. What seemed like random emotional turbulence was actually divine calibration. What felt like confusion was the collapse of illusions. What felt like pressure was heaven pulling you out of deception and into truth. Do not dismiss these sensations. They are confirmations. Confirmations that deception is deteriorating. Confirmations that exposure is approaching. Confirmations that you are standing on the edge of a reality that will redefine everything you thought you knew. The shift you felt was the first announcement that the veil is collapsing, and the revelation that follows will demand your strength, your clarity, and your readiness. The moment you have sensed approaching, the moment your spirit has been bracing for, is now accelerating toward you with unstoppable force. The unveiling is no longer a distant possibility, but an imminent reality, pressing closer with every breath you take. Truth is gathering momentum, pushing through the cracks of every lie, demanding to be seen, insisting on being acknowledged. What has been hidden is no longer content to remain in silence. What was once buried beneath fear, manipulation, or calculated deception is rising with the weight of divine authority behind it. And when truth rises with heaven's backing, nothing can restrain it. You are standing on the threshold of a revelation that will change your perception, your relationships, your direction, and perhaps even the trajectory of your destiny. This is not an ordinary shift. This is a seismic spiritual rupture. You will begin to see things you overlooked, hear things you once ignored, and understand things that were previously clouded. The light that is coming is not gentle illumination. It is piercing, exposing, dismantling every illusion that was crafted to confuse or control you. Emotion will rise. Shock may come. Your heart may tremble under the weight of what is revealed. But do not fear these reactions. They are natural responses to the collision between divine truth and human deception. Every false narrative built around you is about to collapse, not slowly, not softly, but with the decisive force of heaven breaking chains that were never meant to bind you. When truth arrives, it does not ask permission, it demands surrender. When revelation strikes, it does not tiptoe, it shakes the foundations. And when God decides the appointed time has come, no amount of hiding, resisting, or pretending can stop the unveiling. As John 8:32 declares, "You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free," and that freedom is approaching with a velocity that can no longer be slowed. You may feel your emotions intensifying because your spirit recognizes what your mind has not yet seen. You may feel restlessness, anticipation, or even dread because the atmosphere around you is vibrating with the weight of what is about to be disclosed. Do not run from this intensity. Do not numb yourself to the signs. Do not shy away from the light that is breaking through. Everything that was built on deception will crumble, and everything rooted in truth will rise. The unveiling will not simply reveal what was hidden. It will reveal who you are becoming, who is meant to stay, who must be removed, and what path heaven has prepared for you beyond this moment. You are approaching a revelation that will redefine everything, and once it arrives, nothing will ever return to what it was. What you have been feeling is not merely emotional fatigue or mental strain. It is the collision of two spiritual realities, the truth fighting to break through, and the deception fighting to maintain its grip. The seriousness of this internal war cannot be understated. When someone connected to you carries a hidden burden, it creates an energetic fracture that ripples into your life, whether you understand it or not. This is why you felt drained without reason, why your mood shifted unexpectedly, why your heart seemed to ache in moments that made no logical sense. You were absorbing the tremors of their inner turmoil, sensing the weight they refused to confront. The human mind is impacted by what the spirit perceives, and your spirit perceived danger long before your mind could articulate it. Deception creates distortion. Distortion creates confusion. Confusion creates emotional disorientation, and you have been walking through all three without knowing the source. The psychological impact of carrying someone else's concealed truth is profound. It can steal your clarity, scatter your focus, weaken your confidence, and disrupt your peace. You were not imagining the heaviness. You were carrying the spiritual residue of a secret that was never yours to bear. And the deeper the hidden truth, the stronger its shadow becomes, casting itself over your thoughts, your relationships, and your perception of reality. Heaven is exposing this not only to free you from deception, but to free you from the emotional cost you have unknowingly paid. What they hid influenced your reactions, shaped your decisions, and altered your emotional state. There is a reason you felt unstable, even when nothing appeared wrong. There is a reason your intuition kept sounding alarms that your logic tried to silence. The spiritual realm always speaks before the natural realm catches up. You felt the consequences of their choices long before they faced them. This is why the seriousness of the situation must be acknowledged. You were spiritually entangled in a battle that was not yours, yet it affected you as if it were. But now the truth is rising, and with it comes the unraveling of the psychological weight you have carried. The confusion will lift, the fog will clear, the emotional turbulence will settle. Once the hidden thing is revealed, your spirit will finally breathe freely again. The exposure approaching your life is not merely informational, it is deliverance. It is liberation from a burden that was silently shaping your inner world. And once the truth breaks through, your mind, your heart, and your spirit will align again. In the midst of everything intensifying around you, there is a critical command from heaven that must not be ignored. You must move with wisdom, with discernment, and with restraint. The seriousness of this moment demands it. What is unfolding is not a situation to confront impulsively or react to emotionally. This is a spiritual operation, and if you respond in haste, you risk interfering with what God Himself is orchestrating. Do not allow anger to drive you. Do not allow fear to blur your clarity. Do not allow betrayal to provoke premature action. When truth is this powerful, when deception is this deep, when destinies are being separated and rebuilt, the greatest danger is responding before heaven finishes its work. You are being pulled into stillness, not because nothing is happening, but because everything is happening at once. Stillness is your shield. Stillness is your strategy. Stillness is your protection. The atmosphere around you is charged because a divine verdict is forming, and you must stay aligned so that you can hear clearly when direction is given. If you rush, you will misjudge. If you react, you will misstep. If you retaliate, you will step outside of the covering that is being placed over you. There are battles God never intended you to fight, and this is one of them. What you are witnessing is not just human failure, it is spiritual exposure, and spiritual exposure must be handled with reverence. 3 things you must remember now. Patience is strength, discernment is your weapon, and silence is your advantage. The one who hid the truth is unraveling under the weight of their own choices, and nothing they do now can outrun the consequences heaven has initiated. That means you no longer have to carry the burden of proving anything, uncovering anything, or exposing anything by your own effort. The exposure is already in motion. Your task is to stay grounded, stay observant, and stay surrendered to divine timing. Emotional reactions will cloud your vision, spiritual discipline will sharpen it. You are being prepared for clarity that requires a steady heart. You are being positioned for the truth that requires a calm spirit. Do not fear the pause. Do not resist the quiet. Do not misinterpret stillness as weakness. Stillness is how heaven protects you from stepping into a conflict that is not yours to resolve. And when the moment comes to see, to understand, to act, God will make it unmistakably clear. Everything that is unfolding, every tremor in your spirit, every wave of heaviness you have carried, every crack in the illusion that once surrounded you, none of it is accidental. Heaven does not expose without purpose. Heaven does not uncover without intention. Heaven does not shake your world unless something in it is misaligned with your destiny. What is coming to light is not merely a personal revelation. It is a divine correction, a spiritual course adjustment, a severing of ties that were quietly draining your strength and reshaping your path without your consent. The truth being forced into the open is heaven rescuing you from a future built on deception. It is heaven pulling you away from people whose loyalty was never real, from environments that were poisoning your peace, and from connections that would have destroyed your purpose had they remained hidden any longer. You were clinging to things God intended to remove. You were trying to fix situations God intended to expose. You were giving your heart to individuals who were giving their duplicity in return. And heaven, in its mercy, has decided that the cost to your destiny has become too great. This is why divine intervention has intensified. This is why the atmosphere feels charged. This is why you are being pulled into a transition that feels both painful and necessary. Exposure is not an act of cruelty. It is an act of deliverance. It prevents you from building your future on lies you were never meant to carry. It prevents you from binding your spirit to people who cannot walk with you into the next season. It prevents you from delaying the purpose you were chosen to fulfill. The seriousness of this moment is profound. Heaven is dismantling everything that was designed to hinder you. Every false narrative, every manipulative influence, every hidden agenda, every spiritual entanglement that formed without your awareness. You are being separated, so you can be elevated. You are being refined, so you can be aligned. You are being freed, so you can be reassigned. And though the process feels heavy, though your heart may ache, though confusion may try to unsettle you, know this: what is breaking is not your life, it is the chains around it. What is collapsing is not your hope, it is the structure that threatened to suffocate it. What is ending is not your destiny, it is the deception standing in front of it. The truth that is emerging is not coming to destroy you, it is coming to deliver you into a chapter where clarity reigns, where purpose is activated, and where every relationship, environment, and opportunity aligns with the will of heaven. You are standing in the middle of a divine rescue, even if it feels like a storm. You are entering the most critical point of this entire journey, the moment where you must stand firmer, breathe deeper, and anchor yourself in a strength you may not even realize you possess. The atmosphere around you is not merely shifting, it is convulsing under the weight of what is about to be revealed. The unseen realm has already made its decision. The divine verdict has already been issued, and now the natural realm is catching up. This is why your emotions feel amplified, why your intuition is on high alert, why every part of your being senses something monumental drawing near. Do not underestimate the severity of what is unfolding. The truth approaching your life is not soft, not gentle, not subtle. It is truth delivered with the force of justice, designed to break chains, dismantle illusions, and sever connections that were poisoning your destiny. As the exposure nears, three forces rise within you: fear, clarity, and divine strength. Fear comes from the human instinct to protect familiar structures, even when those structures were never built for you. Clarity comes from the sudden sharpness of perception that awakens when heaven shines its light on deception. And divine strength rises because your spirit knows that this battle is not for your destruction, but for your liberation. Do not let fear take hold. Do not let doubt consume you. Do not let the emotional storm convince you that you are not ready. You are ready because you were prepared long before you understood the purpose of your suffering. You were strengthened in silence. You were trained in the shadows. You were refined in seasons where you thought nothing was happening, yet everything was happening beneath the surface. Every disappointment built resilience. Every betrayal sharpened discernment. Every unanswered question birthed wisdom. And now all of those pieces fuse into the strength required for this moment. You may feel the pull to confront prematurely, to demand explanations, to release your anger, but do not fall into that trap. Do not, do not, do not. Instead, rise into the posture heaven has assigned to you. Stand still, stand wise, stand watchful. Let the truth expose itself. Let deception crumble under its own weight. Let divine justice unfold without contamination. Remember, retaliation is human. Revelation is divine. You were not brought to this threshold to fight. You were brought here to witness. When the unveiling arrives, it will not require your force. It will require your clarity. When the truth comes, it will not ask for your rage. It will ask for your discernment. When the exposure strikes, it will not need your participation. It will need your readiness. Do not shrink back. Do not lose yourself in emotions. Do not turn away because the truth feels heavy. Stand in the light, even if the light burns. Stand in revelation, even if revelation shakes you. Stand in the divine alignment that is forming around your destiny. The exposure is not coming to defeat you. It is coming to reveal the